Imagine a world where the air you breathe no longer exists, the sky turns pitch black even at noon, and the ground beneath you is as lifeless as the moon's surface. Without an atmosphere, Earth would become an unrecognizable and desolate planet, a stark contrast to the vibrant, life-sustaining world we call home. The atmosphere, often overlooked in its importance, serves as Earth's protective shield, temperature regulator, and cradle of life. Without it, the planet would transform into a barren, hostile environment where survival, even for the hardiest organisms, would be nearly impossible. In a world without an atmosphere, Earth would lose its most vital defense against the relentless barrage of cosmic radiation and solar wind. The atmosphere currently absorbs and deflects harmful ultraviolet, UV, rays and high-energy particles from the sun, creating a livable environment. Without this protective layer, the planet's surface would be directly exposed to radiation levels lethal to most forms of life. DNA, the fundamental molecule of life, is highly susceptible to damage from such radiation. Mutations would skyrocket, and the delicate balance required for life would collapse.
The absence of an atmosphere would also strip Earth of its natural thermostat. Currently, the atmosphere traps heat from the sun through the greenhouse effect, maintaining a stable temperature range that allows liquid water, and consequently life, to exist. Without this thermal blanket, temperatures would swing wildly. By day, the sun's unfiltered rays would scorch the surface, creating blistering heat akin to Mercury's sunlit side. At night, without the insulating layer of the atmosphere, the planet's heat would radiate into space, plunging temperatures to extremes colder than Antarctica. Such drastic fluctuations would make Earth's surface utterly inhospitable for most life forms. Imagine standing outside on this airless Earth, gazing up. The familiar blue sky, painted by the scattering of sunlight through atmospheric molecules, would be replaced by an inky black void. The sun would shine as a harsh, unfiltered point of light, casting stark shadows without the diffusion provided by an atmosphere. Stars would remain visible even during the day, a surreal and eerie sight, but the beauty of this celestial view would be overshadowed by the grim reality of an uninhabitable planet. Without an atmosphere, Earth would no longer have air pressure. This might seem like a minor detail, but its implications are profound. Atmospheric pressure is what keeps liquid water stable on the surface. In its absence, liquid water would boil away into vapor, regardless of the temperature. The oceans, rivers, and lakes that sustain life would disappear, leaving behind desolate, dry basins. Over time, the remaining water molecules would escape into space, carried away by the relentless solar wind. Earth would become as parched as Mars, with no hope of replenishment.
Weather, as we know it, would cease to exist. The wind that rustles leaves, the rain that nourishes crops, and the snow that blankets mountains would all disappear. These phenomena are driven by the interaction of the atmosphere with the sun's energy. Without an atmosphere, there would be no clouds, no storms, and no seasons. The water cycle, a fundamental process that sustains ecosystems, would vanish, halting the intricate dance of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation that has shaped Earth's landscapes for eons. The absence of an atmosphere would also leave Earth defenseless against meteoroids. Currently, the atmosphere acts as a protective shield, causing most meteoroids to burn out before they reach the surface. Without this layer, even small space rocks would strike the ground with devastating force. The planet's surface would be pockmarked with craters, resembling the Moon or Mercury. Over time, these impacts would dramatically reshape the terrain, leaving a stark and barren landscape. Life on such a planet would be unimaginable. Oxygen, essential for most organisms, would be absent. Plants, which rely on carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, would wither and die. Without plants, the entire food chain would collapse, wiping out animal life. The lack of breathable air, water, and protection from radiation would make survival impossible for humans and most other species. Only extremophiles, microorganisms that thrive in the harshest conditions on Earth, might find a way to eke out an existence, but even their resilience would be severely tested in such an environment. Earth's geology would also be profoundly affected. The surface would experience extreme temperature fluctuations, causing rocks to expand and contract repeatedly. Over time, this would lead to rapid weathering and fragmentation. Without wind and rain to erode and transport sediments, the dynamic processes that shape mountains, valleys, and other landforms would grind to a halt. The planet's surface would become a static, unchanging wasteland. Even Earth's oceans, if they weren't entirely lost to space, would undergo a dramatic transformation. In the absence of atmospheric pressure, water would exist only as ice or vapor. The once thriving seas would freeze solid on the surface while slowly sublimating into the vacuum of space. Any remnants of liquid water would be confined to deep subsurface reservoirs, far from the sun's reach and inaccessible to most forms of life. The absence of an atmosphere would also alter the role of Earth's magnetic field. Today, the magnetic field interacts with the atmosphere to create stunning auroras and deflect harmful solar wind. Without an atmosphere, the magnetic field would still shield the planet from some solar particles, but it couldn't prevent the solar wind from stripping away any remaining water or gases. Over time, Earth would become even more barren, with no hope of rebuilding its lost atmosphere. If humans were to attempt survival on such a planet, they would require technology similar to that used in space missions. Pressurized habitats, life support systems, and artificial ecosystems would be essential for maintaining breathable air, drinkable water, and food supplies. Every aspect of human life, from basic survival to long-term habitation, would depend on advanced technology. The dream of colonizing such a world would be an extraordinary challenge, requiring immense resources and ingenuity. In this grim scenario, Earth would bear a striking resemblance to the Moon or Mars, its vibrant landscapes replaced by a stark and lifeless expanse. The absence of an atmosphere would strip away not only the physical characteristics that make our planet unique but also the intricate web of life that has evolved over billions of years. Ultimately, the thought of Earth without an atmosphere serves as a powerful reminder of the delicate balance that sustains life. The atmosphere is far more than a mere layer of gas. It is a dynamic and life-enabling system that protects, nourishes, and shapes our world. Without it, Earth would be just another barren rock floating in the void of space, a silent testament to the fragility and uniqueness of our home. This hypothetical scenario underscores the importance of preserving and understanding the delicate systems that make life on Earth possible, urging us to cherish the planet we so often take for granted.